Hello, and welcome to the Nora Eccles Harrison Museum of Art here at Utah State University. We are so happy to have you with us today. NEMA was founded in 1982 and currently houses a collection of over 5,000 works of art. Our exhibitions aim to help us better understand our history, ourselves, and others. We also provide opportunities to USU students wishing to pursue a career in the museum field. The exhibition we will be visiting today was curated by a student. If you could follow me this way, we will begin. Samantha Castro is a student in the Art and Design program here at Utah State University. She has previously taken part in curating a digital exhibition on Byzantine and early Christian art, and has now curated the one you are here to see today on identity in Latin America. Being that she is a Latinx artist herself, she felt the need to explore identity as a fluid idea that oftentimes devolves into exclusive labels. Now let's head over here to the right and take a look. The exhibition, Mestizaje, Latin American Art and the Development of Identity, follows the development of identity across multiple cultures of Latin America in art from the pre-colonial to postmodern period. The works of this exhibition all include themes of social identity as it relates to ethnicity, race, and culture in self-labeled written form or metaphor and commentary contextualized with the colonial history of the artist's heritage. After Spain colonized Latin America in the 16th century, a majority of the population was, and still could be, considered mixed race. However, after wars of independence and many civic and social movements, there are now a variety of labels Latin Americans claim. Though there is a discussion to be had about reclaiming or letting go of these labels that never seem to be completely inclusive, today we are only looking to explore how they have changed over time. Please follow me through here. This picture shows the portrait of Kinich Hanap Bacal, the king who ruled over the Maya city-state of Palenque in modern-day Chiapas, Mexico, from 615 to 683 CE. It was found in his tomb, the Temple of Inscriptions, which also contained precious items and written information about the city and its ruler. Bacal, who took the throne at age 12, ruled until his death at the age of 80, but this portrait depicts him as youthful. Though somewhat naturalistic, the portrait has some disproportionate features, like his oval face, high cheekbones, and long nose. Could the artist not succeed in an accurate representation? Of course not. These features were exaggerated because they were idealized. Bacal ruled at the peak of Palenque's importance and relevance when he pushed for the city's expansion, and it is thought that after his death, his tomb was open to those who wished to worship him. This portrait displayed this look as the ideal, along with a ruler who was idolized for boosting citywide pride in a Palenque and Maya identity. One would not just want to look like him, but also be associated with Palenque's power. As we continue right, we have what is known as a casta painting, a genre of art that communicates the New World's racial diversity and racial hierarchy to Old World elites. The painting is made up of 4 registers. The top one shows the Virgin of Guadalupe alongside portrayals of everyday life. The 2 below show a systemic ordering of race mixing in descending order: European and Indian, European and African, and Indian mix. The bottom register shows a labeled still life of fruits, mostly native to the New World. Though communicating the New World's exoticism and its racial hierarchy based on miscegenation, this work differs from other casta paintings because of its non-secular nature. What appears to be the work's most prominent subject is the Virgin of Guadalupe. Her inclusion communicates the idea that yes, she oversees and sanctions this mixed society and its racial hierarchy. Even so, the work communicates a sense of pride in being a mixed member of the New World, while still maintaining social order based on how racial identity was understood. Right over here, we have 2 portraits, both done by José Gil de Castro, appointed the official government painter for Peru during a period when portraiture became popular amongst artists who could only get work in painting the wealthy and other high-ranking military officials. A primary example of this is the portrait on the left of military general Simón Bolívar. Bolívar led many revolts against Spain in the fight for independence. The work includes a red banner with text saying, "Peru recalls the heroic deeds revered to its liberator." The portrait on the left is a bit different though, being not of a wealthy patron, but a fisherman. This is José Silverio Olaya Balandra, who also played a role in the Peruvian War of Independence in being a secret messenger for the Patriots. The banner in his portrait says, "The patriot Don José Olaya served his country gloriously and honored his birthplace." Both portraits stress the importance of Peruvian national pride, especially Olaya's. Bolívar was a Venezuelan-born Spaniard and general, while Olaya was a mixed-race commoner. Though Bolívar's worldly ambition is highly regarded, Olaya's sacrifice as a common man communicates to Peruvians at the time that even you could be not just a hero to your hometown, but to your nation. Let us continue right. Both these works received a similar response from those not knowledgeable of Latin American history, that being indigenous erasure, wherein European societies fail to acknowledge the existence of indigenous people and their culture. The sculpture on the left is an allegorical personification of America, represented as a European woman wearing attire closely resembling ancient indigenous costuming. The work was created to embody and invoke pride in Latin America's large mixed identity. The painting on the right shows an Indian man holding a mochica ceramic portrait jar that has its hands tied behind its back and a rope around its neck. This work aimed to communicate the effect colonization and colonial oppression had on indigenous Peruvians. Though America's focus on identity is one of promoting mixed-race pride, and the inhabitant of the Cordillera of Peru's focus on identity aims for the acknowledgement of indigenous history, both works were considered to be costumbrismo, a documentation of the local everyday, and devoid of their original meanings and viewed through an orientalized perspective. America's message would only be acknowledged by those aware of the wars of independence, and in Lasso's work, when presented at the 1855 World's Fair in Paris, the man was seen as the one who made the ceramic by French critics, resulting in it widely being called the Indian potter. The idea of identity was vital for both works to be understood, but was not acknowledged due to indigenous erasure. Continuing right, we see two works in which the artists express their personal experiences with their mixed and historically oppressed identities. Lam, on the left, was a Cuban of mixed Chinese, European, Indian, and African descent, and Guayasamín was Ecuadorian with indigenous ancestry. The left work shows a tropical terrain and four highly stylized human and animal mixed figures. The right shows a kneeling black figure with red slashes on his back next to two weeping women on both his sides against a red background. Being of multicultural heritage, Lam's interest in Afro-Cuban culture is likely something he felt blended in with his identity. With the enslavement of Black and Chinese laborers in mind, the jungle explores this with the figures' faces resembling African masks and Chinese motifs. One is even shown holding a tool for harvesting, amongst the terrain they are trapped in, with stems resembling sugarcane. Guayasamín's work appears to do similar regarding the exploration of identity, but to call back to European colonization, he parallels Christianity's Passion of Christ, in which Jesus Christ was tied to a column while being flayed with a whip. This communicates his stance that just like Christ died for all to sin, his country and multiple other Latin American countries must acknowledge that they were built on the enslavement, suffering, and killing of numerous Indian populations. Walking over here, we can witness Gustavo Artigas's ballgame. What we are seeing today is only a photograph of the work, but in collaboration with the Resurrection Basketball League in Pilsen, Chicago, Artigas placed a netless basketball hoop vertically onto a wall or sports ground. Unlike basketball, though, the players could only hit the ball with their hips or shoulders. These rules took inspiration from the Maya ballgame involving sacrifices to the gods, which emerged from a myth of two brothers who fought against the lords of the underworld. The goal of the game was to form a community, if not off, then on the court, as a lot of the neighborhood members were at-risk youth involved in gang life. This work also offered a cultural exchange between Latin American and U.S. American cultures, mixing an ancient Mexican game with a contemporary American game. Pilsen is an American neighborhood with a predominantly Mexican immigrant population, raising the question of where does one draw the line in claiming a cultural identity? Does interacting with a culture make one any more Mexican? Does playing the game a certain way make one more American? The topic of intersectionality, one's many overlapping social identities, then arises, as many Latin Americans may claim a country through culture, despite being born elsewhere. Turning around, we arrive at the final work of the tour, Sun Mad, resembling the packaging of sun-made raisins with its bright red background, yellow disc, and fruit packer, Esther Hernandez sought to criticize the brand after learning that pesticides from grape farms contaminated her hometown's water source. The poster replaces the central figure with a skeleton and includes text claiming that the product has been grown with toxic and harmful chemicals like insecticides, miticides, herbicides, and fungicides. Hernandez created this poster a few years after the emergence of the Chicano and Mexican American civil rights movement, one driven politically, culturally, and socially along the demands for fair treatment in education and the workplace. The term Chicano is claimed by those of Mexican descent living in the United States. Though Hernandez targeted Sun-Made growers of California, she was involved with the United Farm Workers of America, who played a huge role in the movement with their successful strikes and boycotts against American grape growers. In embodying the art of protest and relating to a cause fought for by a lot of Chicanos and Mexican Americans, this work was considered necessary in the Chicano civil rights art movement. This concludes the tour of the exhibition Mestizaje, Latin American Art and the Development of Identity, here at NEMA. Thank you so much for joining me on this virtual tour, and I hope you enjoyed learning about these works. If you would like to go back through them, feel free to do so, and to learn more, please check out the exhibition catalog.